If you think we're out of the woods with gas prices falling in recent months, this relief may be temporary. In fact, the U.S. Treasury Secretary said that gas prices may very well spike again this winter. So hop in and I'll show you if the gas-powered car, battery electric vehicle, or hybrid car will save you the most money overall. The answer may very well surprise you because not many people compare them by the calculations I'll show you today. Gas tank capacity differs from car model to car model, and so does driving range. And we don't want to compare apples to oranges. So let's keep this simple. We'll compare the cost to drive 300 miles in a battery electric vehicle versus a hybrid versus a gas-powered car. For the battery electric vehicle, let's look at the cost to drive 300 miles in a Tesla Model Y long range, the 5-seater. I'm benchmarking the Model Y to represent a typical battery electric vehicle, since it's the most popular battery electric crossover right now in America. Well, the Tesla battery size is 82 kilowatts. So let's assume you live in New York, and the average electricity cost is 24.9 cents per kilowatt hour. So it'll cost you $20 and some change to fully charge the Tesla. And how far does a single full charge get you? For simplicity, we'll ignore factors that impact driving range like the temperature outside and your driving speed. Now, the published driving range on a Tesla is 318 miles, but let's assume the car is fully loaded with 5 passengers. Well, then the driving range goes down a bit. But for simplicity, let's assume effective driving range is 300 miles. The bottom line is, for $20 you paid to fully charge your car, it'll take you 300 miles. How much will it cost you to drive that same 300 miles in a hybrid? For the hybrid, I'm benchmarking the RAV4 Hybrid SE. Well, the RAV4 Hybrid gets 41 miles per gallon in the city. Let's assume gas prices will spike back up this winter and into next year and reach $4.70 a gallon. That means the hybrid will cost you about $34 in gasoline to drive the same 300 miles. What if you're driving 300 miles in a gas-powered car? For this part, I'm benchmarking the Toyota RAV4 with a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine since it's the world's most popular crossover in general. Well, the gas-powered RAV4 gets you 27 miles per gallon in the city, so it'll cost you $52 to go those same 300 miles. But now, let's look at how much you'll spend on charging your Tesla over 6 years versus fuel costs over 6 years for the RAV4 Hybrid and the gas-powered RAV4. For this part, let's assume you're the average American who statistically drives 14,000 miles per year. Over 6 years, this means you'll drive 84,000 miles. If you drive the Tesla and each full charge gets you 300 miles of range, this means you'll recharge the car 280 times over 6 years. Previously, we calculated you'd spend $20 per charge. That means you'll pay $5,600 in electricity to run your Tesla for 6 years. On the other hand, what's the gas cost for 6 years if you drive a RAV4 Hybrid? Well, full tank can hold 14.5 gallons, and the hybrid does 41 miles per gallon in a city. So you get 594.5 miles on the full tank. So if you're driving that same 84,000 miles over 6 years, you'll refill the tank about 141 times. Previously, we assumed gas will ride to $4.70 a gallon, so a full tank will cost you $68.15. That means you'll pay $9,609 in gasoline costs over 6 years. But if you drive a gas-powered RAV4 instead, that'll get 27 miles a gallon in the city. So we're talking $14,652 in gasoline cost over 6 years. So here's again, side by side. At first glance, many people jump to the conclusion that the Tesla is a better value. But hold your horses here. You need to factor in the total cost of ownership in those 6 years. And that should include the purchase price too. When you factor that in, you get a bigger picture. The MSRP on the current Tesla Model Y long range 5-seater is $65,990. But remember, you have to buy the wall connector and mobile connector. That adds another $1,000. So let's be real. Most people who buy a Tesla buy the optional full drive features, which cost an additional $12,000. So realistic purchase price plus the estimated charging cost, we calculated means you put down $84,590. This is why I warn people not to look solely on the charging cost versus fuel cost savings. Reality is most Americans aren't able to spend $85,000 on a car. Let's look at the 6-year total cost ownership of a 2022 RAV4 Hybrid SE. MSRP on the $32,230. So with estimated gas cost over 6 years, that means $41,839. The 2022 gas-powered Toyota RAV4 is $26,975. So total cost operated over 6 years is $41,627. When you put it all together, the hybrid and gas-powered RAV4 are nearly neck to neck during 6 years of ownership. But if you tend to keep your car more than 6 years, you'll get a better value out of the hybrid compared to its gas-powered version. Now that's because you save more on gas costs with the hybrid than if you were to buy the gas-powered model. In my book, the hybrid is the winner It's also clear that the Tesla is the worst value. After 6 years of ownership, you'll have to spend nearly double the price of either the hybrid or gas car, and you're extremely far away from coming close to even breaking even on energy cost savings. Now, if your priority is to save money and get the best value, it certainly isn't the Tesla. The fuel cost savings don't justify the higher cost that you'll pay in total. In my opinion, Tesla is not even a luxury car. So is it really worth shelling out twice the cost? Even if you disagree and personally consider Tesla a luxury at par with BMW, Mercedes, or Lexus, well, in that case, I'd be curious why you're trying to save on gasoline costs anyways, if you have that kind of money. On the other hand, if you want to buy an electric vehicle to save the planet, are you ready to cope with range anxiety and how it impacts you emotionally? Look, the average American keeps their car for 12 years. If you're wondering why I use 6 years as a reference in this exercise, the reason is after 12 years, I'm not sure how much your Tesla EV battery will degrade. A lot of people forget to consider that. And even if new battery technologies come up in the new decade, most likely the newer batteries won't be compatible for the car that you just bought today. And even if it is, I really doubt Tesla will let you swap to the better batteries. My bet is they'll be like Apple. Apple doesn't let you swap the SSD in your iPhone. Instead, you have to buy another phone. And that's what Apple does to users despite the cost because they're married to the Apple ecosystem. Same thing with Tesla. If you already have a Tesla now or you get one soon, chances are you'll upgrade to a newer Tesla thereafter in the future because you'll be tied to Tesla's ecosystem. If you believe that gasoline prices will continue to rise, try the simple math exercise we just did today. But try it when gas prices go up to $10 a gallon. But remember, when gas reaches that high one day, the cost of electricity will too, so it'll cost you more to juice up your EV. Well, if none of this convinces you away from Tesla, just remember, all Teslas look like dolphins. Now, all jokes aside, I'm not trying to bash Tesla. I'm just trying to shed light on where the battery electric vehicle industry is right now. If you haven't seen my video on why you shouldn't buy a Tesla, check it out. Now, going back to choosing a hybrid or gas car example, remember too, the RAV4 is a Toyota. Toyotas in general have a solid reputation for quality and reliability. On top of that, Toyota has pioneered hybrid technology far longer than most major car companies. They're literally the king of hybrid cars. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hybrids aren't green. They still run on gasoline, which isn't environmentally friendly. Well, the reality is we're 13 years away from the combustion engine ban, although that is a ban on buying new cars, not banning on driving them. Well, between now and then, the only realistically affordable option for the average American consumer is either a conventional car or hybrid, and certainly not a battery electric car, for now at least. Now, Toyota's been quite conservative about electrifying their cars. You could say they're not conforming with most of the car industry. Now, they're not totally against battery electric vehicles either. They're just not full on in the battery electric technology bandwagon. They're a conservative company, pragmatic and cautious. Last year, Toyota announced plans to invest in a lineup of 30 battery electric cars by 2030. They believe EV adoption rates will vary across the globe, mainly because it's dependent on available energy, infrastructure, and raw materials needed for EV batteries. That's why in the meantime, they're continuing to invest in hybrids. They devoted $5.6 billion for hybrid and all-electric battery production in Japan and the US. I feel they're hedging their bets. You can't blame them, actually. It's a strategic position to take. Toyota believes all-electric cars are one solution, but not the only absolute solution or cure-all. Personally, I agree with their big picture of things. In the long run, though, they said that their goal is for battery electric cars to make up more than 30% of total sales from Toyota and Lexus combined. Actually, that's quite a bit. In a way, they have no choice. The 2035 combustion engine ban is coming, whether they like it or not. If you're on edge that gas prices will spike again later this year, well, you have good reason to fear. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said there's a risk it can rise. Here are the facts that no one can deny. Inflation remains high. As of the recording of this video, it's 8.5%. Demand for gasoline is almost back to near-pandemic levels because Americans have pretty much returned to normal activities, more or less driving everywhere. But oil production is still below pre-pandemic levels. I'm talking about low supplies here relative to demand. Also factor in the fact that the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates 4 times already this year, and they have plans for more raises in the near future to nudge prices down. Look, the war's still raging in Ukraine, and no end is in sight. Russia has been mobilizing its reservists and unofficially drafting civilians. Bad enough that human lives are at stake. And on top of that, the chaos is wreaking havoc on the global supply chains as it is. Plus, Russia produces 10% of the world's oil supply. U.S. has completely banned Russian oil imports. The new sanctions against Russia impact crude oil, which in turn was responsible for more than half the retail cost cost of gasoline. On top of that, OPEC Plus is very stressed out. They're worried about economic slowdown that'll stunt oil demand. We're talking slipping prices, weak demand in China, and a deal with Iran. Recently, OPEC and allies agreed to trim oil production down by 100,000 barrels a day. And that comes a few days after Russia, which is a co-leader of OPEC Plus, said it was shutting off a key natural gas pipeline to Germany indefinitely. So when you weigh all these factors together, you can see the fuel crisis isn't over. It's not unreasonable to anticipate that gas prices may go back up again this winter. But now you tell me, do you think gas prices will spike again? And how will it impact your driving habits? Please share by commenting below. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.